Okay, I'm going to get started. I'll open up the chat box. If there's any questions or anything, feel free to just chat them in. I'm Mr. Bressler. It's AP Economics. This will be the first of 4 summer sessions. The idea of the summer sessions is basically to acquaint you with economics, to help make the first unit a little easier for you, as that if you heard it over the summer, then you hear it again, that things will be easier for you and we could get off to a good start. Every lesson I teach, I video, so I will video this lesson and then I'll send it out during email and Remind. If you're on this and you're not on Remind, I really would appreciate if you did sign up for Remind. It makes my life a little easier. The summer assignment, we'll cover some things in the summer assignment today. If anyone does anyone have any questions about the summer assignment? I'm guessing most people didn't look at it, even though more people than any other class have turned in their summer assignment by July 4th. Kind of interesting. But if you have any questions on the summer assignment, you could ask me. We'll do the same thing next Wednesday at 11. And all right. Here we go. So what I'm going to do today is talk about opportunity costs and trade-offs. And trade-offs was one of the questions that I asked in the summer assignment. How to graph these on a production possibilities curve. That's another thing that's in the summer assignment. And then I think we'll just get a little to how trade and how countries determine what to trade. Okay. Now, in any of these, again, feel free to ask questions. I sometimes have talk really fast or go fast. So feel free to slow me down. The idea here, again, is to get you acquainted and get you to know the material. All right. So all decisions involve trade-off. So if you decided, I'm here, you had trade-offs. And trade-offs are all the alternatives we give up whenever we choose one course of action over another. So if you guys chose to be here this morning, for some of you, you gave up sleeping. For some of you, you gave up working. For some of you, you gave up hanging out with your friends. For some of you, you might have, gave up gaming. All of those are trade-offs. Trade-offs are all the alternatives that we give up whenever we make a decision. Opportunity costs are the most desirable. Okay? So opportunity cost would be the most desirable of all things you traded off. So if I traded off sleeping, eating, working, hanging out with my friends, playing video games, maybe working would be my opportunity cost. Now, is everyone going to have the same opportunity cost? No, because everyone has different priorities. All right. Just like people are going to have different trade-offs. So again, trade-offs, and I think I asked, give me 3 examples of trade-offs in the summer assignment. If you made a decision, like people said, I decided to take AP Econ. It's not one thing, the trade-off, and it might not be, I could have taken an easier class, I could work, or it's all the things you gave up to say, take AP Econ. A great decision, by the way. All right, so that's trade-offs and opportunity cost. Opportunity cost comes a lot during the course of the year. And opportunity cost is something that people really don't understand. And I think somewhere in the book you'll read there's no free lunches. And what they mean by there is no free lunch is because no matter what, there's an opportunity cost. Like if someone's even taking me out for a free lunch, I'm giving up something for being there. Okay. Now, another thing that runs through the year is marginal analysis. Marginal is additional. Usually in econ, it's the additional unit, the additional worker. It's additional. So whenever you see marginal, it is additional. So what's marginal analysis? It's analyzing based on the additional unit or the additional worker. Okay? So it involves making decisions based on additional benefit versus additional cost. So benefit would be like if I get a donut, the additional benefit, and let's put it monetary, is I'm willing to pay $1, so I get at least $1 worth of benefit. All right, but it only costs me 80 cents. So if the benefit is greater than the cost, then I'm going to buy that donut. What happens is when the benefit, say, of my third donut, because I'm no longer hungry anymore, it's only worth 50 cents to me, but it's costing me 80, then I stop buying donuts. So here is a little setup. Hours spent picking up money. Weird type of topic. All right, I want you to just look at this for a minute and tell me, based on this information, how many hours should be spent. And I'll give you a minute, don't type anything in or don't say anything, and then we'll just go through the answers. Okay, could you type into the chat, how many hours should we spend picking up money? Go, type it in. Okay, I've got a lot of twos. And so the first hour, the benefit is 200, the cost is 10. Yes. Second hour, the benefit is 99, the cost is 10. Yes. The third is $1.10. No. Okay. So that is marginal analysis. I'm looking at the benefit versus the cost. And even though I benefit $1, it costs me 10. So I'm going to stop at the second. Any questions there? You could either turn on your mic or chat in if you have a question. Okay. And again, marginal benefit and marginal analysis does run throughout the course. Okay. Now we have what we call 4 factors of production. These are the resources, the inputs, things that make things, okay? So first one is land. Now, land, you have to think of as all natural resources, all right? So when they say factors of production, land is, and by land, they mean oil, water, all natural resources. The second is labor, okay? And labor is workers. And man, look how hard that guy is working. And when we review for the AP exam, he's going to be still working that hard. That is a great man. Capital. Now, capital is tricky because in econ, capital is things that make things. Things that make things. So capital are machines, factories, all right? Things that make things. So we have land, natural resources, labor, workers, capital, things that make things, and entrepreneurs. Now notice, money is not a factor of production because money does not make things, all right? So you have land, natural resources, labor, capital, things that make things like machines, factories, and entrepreneurship. Those are your 4 factors of production. All right. Now, there's 2 ways to look at costs. And there's the way accountants do it, and there's the way economists do it. All right. Accountants only look at explicit cost. So let me define what an explicit cost is first. An explicit cost is something that you pay actual money for. Rent is an explicit cost. Food is an explicit cost. Labor is an explicit cost. Buying machines is an explicit cost. So accountants are using only explicit costs when they think. So accountants, when they think of profits, it's total revenue minus explicit cost. So profits equal total revenue minus explicit cost. Economists look at explicit cost and implicit cost. So we know an explicit cost is out of pocket. What is an implicit cost? An implicit cost is something I gave up. So instead of being a teacher, I could be a lawyer. So my implicit cost could be $150,000. I make $50,000 as a teacher. I could make $200,000 as a lawyer. I gave up $150,000. Now, is that actually coming out of my pocket? No. It's what I've given up, though. So economists, because we look at opportunity cost, and there's opportunity cost and explicit, but economists think of what you give up also as a cost. So therefore, when they're looking at profit, it's total revenue minus explicit plus implicit cost. All right. Now, in our class, since it's econ, and I know some of you will take accounting, in our class, when we're looking, unless otherwise told, we're always thinking implicit and explicit cost. All right. We're always looking at it like an economist. All right. So like it says in the definition here, implicit costs are something that you've given up. It's income or time that you gave up. All right. Okay. So like Lamar Jackson leaves the NFL to open up a taco shop. All right. For Lamar, his implicit cost would be, I don't know what he's making now, like 50 million. That's why he's not giving it up. But it is why players sometimes leave college early, right? Because if you're a professional athlete and you stay in college, the implicit cost of what you could be making in the NFL is a lot. All right. Anyone, before I go into the production possibilities curve, anyone have any questions on anything I covered so far? Just type it in the chat. I'll give you like a little time if you want to type. No questions? We'll forge ahead. Okay. If you look here, as I make more pizza, All right. So I make one pizza, I now give up one calzone. I make a second pizza, I give up one calzone. I make a third pizza, I give up one calzone. The opportunity cost is constant, okay? So a constant opportunity cost occurs when resources are easily adaptable, all right? Now, I'm going to show you the graph in a second, but a constant opportunity cost means resources are easily adaptable. And the same skills and resources used to make a pizza can be used to make a calzone. And I'll show this to you in a second in a different graph. Whenever the constant opportunity cost, you're going to have a straight line. Okay? That's constant. You could have calzones here, say, and pizza here. And that shows constant opportunity cost. So if they show you a graph with a straight line, one, they expect that you have to know it's a constant opportunity cost. Two, you have to know that the resources are easily adaptable. Okay? Now, any spot, all right, I'll get to that in a second. Next up, I'm going to show you increasing. Okay. So here, like I build a robot, it costs me one pizza. I build the second robot, it costs me 3 pizzas. I build the third robot, 6. And then, so this is increasing opportunity cost. All right. And the reason for that is resources are not easily adaptable. All right. So here, resources are not easily adaptable. We have more of the bowed out curve. All right. So if you see a bowed out curve, you know, 1, increasing opportunity cost, and 2, resources are not easily adaptable. Okay. Okay. All right. So corn and wheat, constant opportunity cost, resources easily adaptable. Cactus and pineapples, bowed out, resources are not easily adaptable. Now, I'm going to put some letters on this. Say point A, the dot on this line. Point B, dot on this line. Point C, dot on this line. G and E. Point A, B, and C, any spot on this line or on the bowed out line means you're productively efficient. Spots A, B, and C, any point on the line means you're productively efficient. What does that mean? You're producing at the least cost. You're the most efficient you could be. All right. So like if you're looking at Calvert Hall and they're productively efficient, every seat in every classroom is filled. All right. We're most efficient. Now where I put D or anything inside the curves, either the straight line or the bowed curve, means you're inefficient. In the real world, what would that be? That would be unemployment. That might be closing factories because you don't have work, so you have factories not in use. It's not using all your resources efficiently, okay? So you have unemployment in D, and that would be a sign of inefficient. Z, or E rather, is unattainable with present day resources, meaning we're using A, B, and C efficiently. So all those resources are just getting us there. We can't get to E unless there's a change in our resources. Okay. Any questions so far on the production possibilities curve? All right. All right. I don't need you to worry about the 4 key assumptions. The only thing to realize is when we're doing the production possibilities curve, we're saying there's 2 products. There's obviously hundreds of products. We're just making the models simple so that we can understand them, okay? Now, what you do need to know is what shifts those curves. Remember, I said you couldn't, like, the point outside was unattainable with present day resources. Well, what gets that attainable? What shifts those curves? 1, change in resource quantity or quality. Any change in resource quantity or quality. You going to college is a change in the quality of human resources. All right. 1 million people immigrating to the United States is a change in quantity of the human resource. So you have quantity or quality there. That's one of the shifters of production possibilities. 2, change in technology. So you got change in quantity or quality of resource, change in technology. 3, change in human capital. Now, is that actually in resource quantity or quality? Yes, it could be in the same category. However, College Board, a lot of times in their questions, use human capital. So I break it out as another shifter, just so you'll, when you see human capital in a question, you'll understand what they're getting to. And the 4th one is change in capital stock. And that might not have came clear. Change in capital stock. What do I mean by capital stock? Again, that would be an increase in machines, an increase in factories, an increase in equipment, things that make things. So again, the 4 shifters: change in resource quantity or quality, change in technology, change in human capital, and change in capital stock. Now, how are we going to look at this curve? So what happens if there's an increase in population? Okay. Population is a change in quantity of resources. I'm going to put an arrow and I'm going to put the whole curve out. And that is how I handle a shifter. Okay. Now, anytime the curve increases like that, it's a change in economic growth, right? It's an increase in economic growth because now we produce more of both items. Do another example. Okay. Now, what if there is a technology improvement in pizza ovens? Is that going to change how many pizzas we make? Yes. But is it going to affect how many robots we make? No, the improvements in pizza ovens. So I'm going to graph it like that. I'm going to start out with the robots being like on the same line and then drift out to the pizzas. Okay. All right. Now, whoops. All right. So Panama favors consumer goods. Mexico favors capital goods. I'm going to give you a minute to think. Don't type anything up. And I want you to think about which country's going to have the greatest future economic growth. All right. Think about it for like 30 or 40 seconds. Which country do you think is going to have the greatest economic growth in the future? All right, guys, I'm going to count to 3 and type in either Mexico or Panama. 1, 2, 3. What do we got? I got Mexico. I've got some Panamas. Okay, mostly Mexico. All right. Let's look at how the graph is. Panama, Mexico. Notice Mexico is bigger. Why? Because Panama is investing in consumer goods. So like shirts and food, and those things are good, and you're going to get some economic growth. But Mexico is building more factories, getting more equipment. So in the future, these factories and the equipment are going to be used to make both more consumer and capital goods, leading to greater economic growth. All right. Now, a couple of you had Panama. That's okay. Do you understand why? And if not, could you type in so I could maybe explain it again differently, slower? Anyone confused why Mexico has greater economic growth? Again, Mexico is investing in things that will help build more things in the future, factories, machines, equipment. Okay. All right. You know how we did these. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is give you like 7 problems. And I want you to graph each one. All right. So the first 3 are pizza and robots, and the next 4 are consumer and capital goods. All right. I'll give you like about 5 minutes to graph these, and then we'll go over all of them. If you have any questions, type them in the chat, and I'll answer them as we come. All right. It's 11:30. I'll check back with you at 11:35. Okay, I don't know, did you finish yet or not? But if you didn't, we're just gonna go over each one of these and see how we can. Now, I should say this, graphing is super important in econ. Like, if you understand the graphs, I think it makes the class really a lot easier. I spend a lot of time myself just evaluating the graphs. So let's look. New robot making technology. All right. Type in what's going to happen here. Go. Boom. What's going to happen? What shifts? All right. I got more robots. Anything else? Increase in robots. Anyone else? Okay. Robots go up. No change in pizza. All right. You guys got it. So I'm going to graph it like that. And by the way, it's important to put the arrow to show, and there you go. You guys are good. All right. Question number 2. Decrease in the demand for pizza. Decrease in the demand for pizza. What do we got for this one? I've got no shift in the curve, no change in robots, less pizza production. Decrease pizza, no change. Decrease in pizza. Okay. All right, Aiden, I just see your name here. Aiden, which one of the shifters would decrease pizza? Is it change in quantity or quality of resources, change in technology, change in capital stock, or change in human resources? Aiden, which one of those shifters would change that? Because you said less pizzas. Anyone who has the curve shifting in on pizzas, could you tell me the shifter? Yeah, sure, Aiden. And I hope you copied it down. It's the 4 shifters: change in quality and quantity of resources, change in technology, change in human resources, or change in capital stock. Those are the only things that could shift the curve. So if you're saying less pizza, which one of those 4 caused you to shift the curve? And I just called on Aiden because his name was up, but anyone who's telling me less pizzas are used, what would shift the curve? Is that what you mean? Hold it, Peter, and you just came up here. Is it a change in resource? Are less people available to make the pizza?
I don't know if less people are available to make them. It's just not as many people want them.
Is that different?
I would think that's different.
It is. So therefore, it's not a change in quantity or quality of resource. Therefore, the curve doesn't shift.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how am I going to show? I will show you in a second how we're going to show this. Now, you're just going to slide up the curve. So what you guys, and again, it's really hard on, doing this virtually, because you said, like, yes, we're going to make less pizzas, but we're not going to shift the curve in. We're just going to be making more robots. All right. So anytime you shift this curve, it has to be one of the 4 shifters. Okay. I mean, that is a real tricky question. Okay. Any questions on that? Is it still not clear to anyone? Okay. All right. Mad cow disease kills 85% of cows. And by the way, you get cheese from cows. So go, what's going to change here? Okay. All right. And let's just, because I think this will help us in our terminology, instead of saying less pizza, say shift inward for the pizzas, shift outward when we want. So we're shifting the curve, and you guys are right. We are going to shift inward here. Okay. And again, the arrow, again, like just starting the same for robots and moving in. Good job. All right. Now, these are confusing, I think, because they're not, to be truthful, they're not well written. An oil spill in the Gulf. I mean, you use oil for transportation. Oil affects everything. So I had an inward shift of both. If you had an inward shift of, say, capital goods, I'm fine with that. Like if this was a test and you picked only one of them and you explain why, I'm fine. This is not really worded perfectly, okay? Long as you realize there'd be a decrease because oil is a resource. And I'm going to go let's see what we have here. What did we do here? What did we shift and which way? Outward shift to capital, all outward shift to capital, okay. On this one, I would shift them both out, but if you shifted outward for capital, I would have accepted it on a test because I don't think this is, look, the questions on a test are better worded. Faster computer hardware, computers help both consumer and capital goods, but you don't have to know that. So if you shifted one, I'd be fine with that. Many workers unemployed. I want you to think for a second. Many workers unemployed. Now, I'm telling you to think because I don't think it's as obvious as it sounds. All right, tell me what you did here. Type in what you did. So I got inward shift, both inwards. So I've got inwards, inwards. Okay. All right. Most of you are saying inward. Give me the shifter that's getting you to think inward. Okay. All right, Ethan, could you put on your mic for a second?
Yeah, hello.
Okay, Ethan, what change in human capital? Are the people less skilled?
No, there's just less people working, so there's not as
Okay.
many.
There's less people working. Are there less people?
No. So the resources, I mean, I guess it doesn't change them, but
Right, but how would we then show unemployment if there's a lot of workers unemployed? How could we show it on the graph? Do you remember?
Sorry, my cat is on my desk right now and she's
Okay, I'll let you sign off. All right. Now, we have more unemployed people. Does anyone have an idea how we're going to show it on this? Are we being efficient? Are we using all our resources efficiently if some people are staying at home not working? Okay. It's going to be a point below the curve, and that is correct. There it is. Unemployment. Now, here's the thing, as I was getting into it with Ethan about, and Ethan realized it, it's not a change in quantity of resources. We still have 1,000 people, only say 800 are working. So we're not using that 1,000 efficiently. So therefore, I put a dot inside the circle. Questions? And you could flip on your mic if you have a question. Okay. Significant increase in education. What do we have here? What's shifting which way? Both shift outward. Shift outward. Nick, why inward and capital?
My reasoning was that if people are receiving higher education, they might not want to work in like factories, so they'll be drawn towards maybe more specialized areas.
Okay. I would say, though, I think how they'll look at it is to shift both out, because if you're educated, I think you'll use that to build factories or to increase technology that will help factories. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll get them both out. Okay. All right. Anyone have any question on any of the 7? Okay. All right, besides 4 and 5, because I didn't go over those today, I want you to look at these, and I'll give you a minute or 2 to look at them. And then if you have any, well, just look through them and see could you answer them. Six should be the 4 shifters, but. Okay, if there's anything up here besides 4 and 5 that you cannot answer, could you just type the number in the chat? there's any question up here you don't feel good about answering, can you just type the number in the chat? All right, I got 3 in. All right, the law of increasing opportunity cost occurs because resources are not easily adaptable. All right, so when cheese and calzones and you're using the same resources, the opportunity cost is constant because taking away from one has no impact on the other. When resources are not easily adaptable, like pizza and robots, if I'm making robots, I'm taking away maybe at first someone who's not that good in pizza, but as I continue to take these pizza makers away, the resources are not easily adaptable, so therefore the opportunity cost increases. I didn't go over 5, but I will now. Productive efficiency is producing at the least cost. So that's everything on the production possibilities curve. Every dot on the production possibilities curve is productively efficient. Allocative efficiency is producing what society wants. Now, the production possibilities curve does not show you what society wants, so you can't get that from the production possibilities curve. All right? So again, productive efficiency is producing at the least cost. Allocative efficiency is producing what society wants. Okay. Good. Anyone else? Any other numbers you want? Okay. All right. So absolute. Now, why do countries trade? Countries trade for various reasons, but economically, so one could specialize in one thing and the other one could specialize in another, and therefore they lower their cost. I mean, they trade also to get good relations with countries, to get resources that they might not have. But the two things when we talk about trade is absolute and comparative advantage. The absolute advantage is the producer that can produce the most output or requires the least amount of inputs. The producer that can produce the most output or requires the least amount of inputs. Now, we're only going to do 2 countries at a time, again, for simplicity. But one country could have the absolute advantage in both, meaning it could produce the most cars and it could produce the most computers. Comparative advantage is the producer with the lowest opportunity cost. Comparative advantage decides what you should specialize in and what you should trade. So comparative advantage, the producer with the lowest opportunity cost, okay? It decides what you should trade. Right. So countries should always trade if they're going to export something they have low opportunity cost, and that makes sense, right? They're going to export is sell to other countries. They're going to make a lot of things that cost them a little and trade for things that cost them a lot. You could only specialize in one. So you could have the absolute advantage in both, but the comparative advantage in one. Okay. This is probably a good time to stop new stuff. Michael and Fusey, if someone asked you, what did you learn today in economics? Could you type in something you've learned? Okay. Sebastian, could you give me something? Sebastian, could you give me the 4 factors of production? You could turn on your mic if it's faster. Okay. And I didn't really hear you, but that's okay. Drew Rogalski, if you're here somewhere, you're giving me the shifters. Okay, those are the, right, Sebastian, those are the shifters of the production possibilities curve. Okay, good. Drew, something you learned today. I don't know, you're still here. I
Mr.
saw
Wrestler,
you.
do you want me to give you the 4 factors?
Sure.
It was it labor, capital, entrepreneurship, and land?
Land. Do you remember what capital is?
Capital is things that make other things, like
Oh.
like robots.
Okay, great. All right, guys, that'll be it for today. I appreciate you coming during the summer and spending time. And we'll go on, we'll get ready for the next thing next week. Enjoy the rest of the week, and I will see you on next Wednesday.
Thanks, Mr. Bressler.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.